Rightio everyone, and I hope you guys will enjoy this video. I realise that a lot of the time I talk about how the Harrier, the F-14 Tomcat are my favourite jets, but I never exactly explain why. Now, today we have with us a... Hang on, my brain... we have a military professional sort of thing, so he knows a lot about, Satan Lima. And we are showing, and he sent me a clip of him flying the F-14 Tomcat, which I love, and I found out something interesting just now about the F-14. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you the F-14. Yep. Oh, this is so cool. It may not be real life, guys, but it might as well be. Oh, Satan, this is dope! Shit! I really wish you would have sent me a clip where you won.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, well, not in this clip, obviously. But yeah, everyone, did you activate the F-14's thing while in mid-combat, by the way?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Everyone, if you're wondering what the thing is that the F-14 Tomcat can do, trust me, you'll love it. It's what one of the planes on GTA 5 should do, but doesn't. Right, turn the music off, Satan. Subtitles.
During its 3 decades in service with the United States Navy, the Grumman F-14 Tomcat more than lived up to the role it was designed for, drawing blood in combat and even getting its moment in the spotlight in the film Top Gun. Designed to incorporate the air combat experience learned during the Vietnam War, the F-14 was the first of the American Teen Series fighters that included the F-15 Eagle, F-16 Fighting Falcon, and the...
Satan, for those of the people in the audience, what is a team fighter meant to mean? Satan is... What does team fighter mean? Like, the F-14?
Oh. Can't remember.
Well, that's brilliant, Satan. You're here to help with this, not to not know.
I'm more trying to listen to music, I don't know.
The two-seat carrier-based multi-role fighter was developed after the United States Congress halted the development of the F-111B, along with the Tactical Fighter Experimental Program.
F-111 shot so bad.
Satan, can you explain to people in the audience how this happened?
Basically, the plane went that fucking fast that it fired its guns, and then those bullets hit it because it was going faster than its own bullets, causing it to shoot itself down.
That's cool, but at the same time, fucked.
That's funny.
It is. Ah, yes. Let us go at Mach 1. Shit fires. Oh, fuck. Ah! Just takes it.
Pilot managed to bail it anyway, so it's like...
Yeah, well, at least he lived.
The United States Navy, with the planes to fit each of their respective needs, the Navy was opposed. Instead, the Navy called for a request for proposals for its Naval Fighter Experimental Program, which required a...
Didn't Lockheed, the weapons developers, Lockheed Martin, make some of the F-14s?
Yes.
Right, this
Along
one.
with the Raptor.
Twin-engine air-to-air fighter. Grumman was awarded the contract in January 1969. The result was
69.
the F-14 Tomcat, named so after Navy Admiral Thomas Tomcat Connolly, who called upon Congress for the Navy to develop a carrier-based fighter. The F-14, which made its first deployment in 1974, arrived as a supersonic, twin-engine, variable sweep wing, two-place fighter.
Basically, guys, a sweep wing is basically... Satan, should I explain or do you want to explain?
No, a swept back wing is a fucking jet that has its wings swept back currently and can't be moved. Swing wing is the one where they're able to control it going in and out.
Which is what the F-14 Tomcat is, so this guy got it wrong.
As well as MiG-23s and 27s, which are Russian.
Basically, guys, imagine it like this. Everyone knows about the fucking cringy-ass Naruto run. Basically, it's like that, but only in case. It's like if you were T-posing originally while running, and then you just put your arms back. And also the Satan. Why is a jet in a? What is the big bomber in GTA 5 that should has its wings that look like it should do that?
B1. I mean, it can do that. Really.
It's the Alkanos, guys. It looks like it should do the swing wing, but it doesn't because Rockstar are lazy in that way. But hey, they did.
Just can't do it with the mechanics. Doesn't work.
Then why would they design it like that in the game?
They're stupid.
Yeah, bit.
It was designed to engage enemy aircraft in all weather conditions, as well as at night.
Oh,
It
duh.
was designed to track up to 24 targets simultaneously. The plane featured...
Satan said this. Hang on. Satan said that was incorrect. It's Satan. How many is the F-14 supposedly able to track simultaneously?
It's able to lock onto 8 carnets.
Right, but it can.
Missiles, at least.
Okay, right.
That includes a powerful Hughes AWG-9 radar, which used in conjunction with the Phoenix AIM-54 missiles, can pick out and destroy a chosen target from a formation at
Wait,
a
what?
distance of over 100 miles.
Those are really good missiles.
Yeah, I know just by
Additional
hearing them.
elements include a variety of other interceptor missiles, rockets, bombs, and an internal M61A1 Vulcan 20mm.
By the way, guys, interceptor missiles basically mean long-range missiles for bombers.
Or just really fast aircraft. They're far away.
Gatling-style rotary cannon.
Ooh!
The F-14 could match the speeds of other aircraft as needed, and for takeoff and low-speed flight, the wings would shift to the front, while for supersonic speeds, the wings could tuck backward. Because of its versatility, it served as an air superiority fighter, fleet defense interceptor, and even tactical reconnaissance platform. The F-14 was initially equipped with 2 Pratt & Whitney TF-30 augmented turbofan engines, each rated at 20,900 pounds of thrust, which enabled the aircraft to attain a maximum speed of Mach 2.34.
Wow!
The F-14 would normally fly at a cruising speed for reduced fuel consumption, which was important for conducting lengthy patrol missions.
True.
The cockpit has 2 seats arranged in tandem, outfitted with Martin Baker rocket-propelled ejection seats, rated from 0 altitude and...
Semi-active is... Wait, don't tell me I remember it. Wait, no, isn't it, where you have to make sure that the...
SARH, basically, is what it's referred to. Semi-active radar only.
Don't you have to keep the target in radar thingy, otherwise you'll lose it?
Yes.
Right, there you go.
To be in front of the aircraft.
And everyone, I didn't have to have a look at the brevity code screenshots that I saved just to remember that. That's ingrained in my head.
So I'm trying to go through my carriage, but...
Zero airspeed up to 450 knots. Canopy is spacious and fitted with 4 mirrors to effectively provide all-round visibility. Only the pilot has flight control. The flight instruments themselves are of a hybrid analog-digital nature. The cockpit also features a head-up display to show primarily navigational information. Several other avionics systems, such as communications and direction finders, are integrated into the AWG-9's radar display. The Tomcat drew its first blood in August 1981 during the Gulf of Sidra incident, in which 2 F-14s were attacked by a pair of Libyan Su-22 fighters. Both fighters were shot down.
Libyan F2... Wait, how... Su-22... Wait, how did... Wait, what happened? Why did F-14s just suddenly get attacked? Why did they just get attacked by some Wait, what are the Libyans?
I can't remember. But they're probably not supposed to be in the airspace and must have gotten affected.
Well, the F-14s got attacked by the Libyans, but I guess it...
By Su-22s, no less.
But they just... But I guess Tomcats just literally did a 180 and just took them out. Oh, wow, really, guys? The jets on the pictures have the words "Go Navy" and "Beat Army" on the slip wings. Yeah, I think.
But the events would be replayed nearly 8 years later when in January 1989, another pair of F-14s shot down 2 Libyan MiG-23 floggers, again over the Gulf of Sidra. The United States Navy continued to rely on the F-14 throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, where it was utilized in a strike escort and reconnaissance role in Operation Desert Storm as well as
In
Operation Force and Operation Allied Force.
What the hell are... I feel like armies should stop using like Operation Desert Eagle, Night Eagle. Like, just say what it is, because people want to know, especially me.
The conflicts in the former Yugoslavia. The F-14's final combat mission took place in February 2006, when 2 Tomcats were used in a bombing mission in Iraq. When the F-14 was retired from service with the Navy and supplanted by the Boeing FA-18EF Super Hornet, the Tomcat remains in use with the Islamic Republic of Iran Air Force. Only a handful of the planes, which were purchased by the Imperial Iranian Air Force in the 1970s, remain in operation. But according to reports, these aircraft have flown escort missions in Syria, proving that even after nearly 50 years, the Tomcat still has sharp claws.
Well, duh. You can't just give a Tomcat, you can't just give a Tomcat wings, and you can't just...
F-14s have laser-guided bombs, right?
Yeah, I know. Seriously, Satan, I may be dumb when it comes to planes and all that, but when it comes to the F-14 and some parts of the Harrier, there are some things that I do know. I hate the fact that they retired the F-14. Disgusting.
Well, it has to be replaced.
A highly versatile aircraft.
Well, it shouldn't be replaced because it is a legend.
Yes, but it's really old and other
well, just make a Mark II version. I don't get. You can't just.
No, can't do that.
It deserves so much more respect.
It did.
Yeah, well, it needs more respect because it does not have enough, in my opinion.
Patrol and bomber aircraft dictated a requirement for a fleet defense fighter that could engage high-altitude bombers from well beyond visual range.
Huh.
According to the National Naval Aviation Museum, the iconic F-14 Tomcat was Grumman's answer. Needing an interceptor's high speed while carrying the heavy ordnance, Grumman produced a highly effective variable sweep wing of the F-14, enabling it to operate at a wide range of airspeeds. According to Charlie
But hang on, Satan. I don't understand why they retired it. Can't the F-14s go? The F-14s can go Mach 2.34, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it would be useful to keep them going because they go Mach 2.
Yes, but they're gonna have fighters that'll go even faster than that. Then again, they're gonna usually fly at that speed. They're usually flying subsonic. They never actually go supersonic.
Mainly to conserve fuel, but...
The F-14 design team and Grumman test pilot, the Navy specs called for a top speed of Mach 2.34, but the Tomcat was tested from Mach 2.5.
What? It goes...
You don't know this.
No, I didn't know it goes to Mach 2.5.
Well, no, you didn't.
Why it went away.
No!
Yeah, which I know.
Computer technology has vastly improved processing speeds and an ability to perform procedural functions, organize information, and make determinations otherwise left to humans. Targeting sensors engineered to integrate with navigational and threat information more independently, which were already emerging to a great extent by the early 2000s, may have lessened the need for a human naval aviator to travel in the plane. The F-35, for instance, was already moving along with engineering and development by 2006, and the FA-18 was emerging as an improved, high-tech single-seat aircraft with advanced avionics and a different single-pilot configuration. Sensor fusion, such as that enabled by the F-35, massively reduces...
Isn't the F-35 in Battlefield 2042?
And make real-time combat decisions.
Well, it's actually a real thing.
Otherwise time-consuming
Wow.
procedures computers can perform, the fewer humans need to occupy time, faculties, and mental energy to complete functions easily done by computers. If targeting, navigational, and sensor data can be aggregated and organized for a human decision-maker, as done by an F-35, the need for human cognition massively decreases. However, with a single pilot, an F-18 or F-35 can still operate with the unique and necessary attributes fundamental to human cognition, therefore optimizing performance. Reducing the human load, of course, lessens the risk to pilots, but may also make an aircraft more maneuverable.
I mean, the F-35 does sound cool, I won't lie.
Avionics, electronics, sensors, and weapons can be easily upgraded, something which would lead people to make the case for continuing newer variants of the Tomcat.
Thank you.
Yet retiring a two-seater structural configuration may have nonetheless.
Oh, we were about to see him go supersonic. Meow. Oh!
The Super Tomcat.
Excuse me, what?
Had things played out differently, an even more advanced version of the Super Tomcat could have been taken to the skies. Described as an evolutionary upgrade of the F-14, the ST-21 Super Tomcat for the 21st century would have added more fuel capacity and even an ASA radar that had been developed for the cancelled A-12 attack aircraft. The Super Tomcat 21 would be a modification of the original F-14 design, and it was to feature GE F-110-129 motors that would allow the Tomcat to super cruise, achieve Mach 1 plus without using afterburner, continuously at Mach 1.3. Additionally, the jet would have an upgraded APG-71 radar, modified and enlarged control surfaces, and enlarged leading-edge route extensions that would house more fuel and enhance the jet's low-speed handling capabilities. The Super Tomcat was proposed as a lower-cost alternative to the Navy Advanced Tactical Fighter, but it could have been more. It would have likely led to a host of even more advanced Tomcats, including an attack Super Tomcat, which could have featured nuclear weapon capability and bomb stores underneath the engine nacelles. However, none of it was to
Satan,
be. The Navy
remind me again, what is a nacellus on a jet? What is a nacellus?
I'm not even sure what you're saying. Anyway, just a reminder that the Viggen was the first aircraft to achieve radar lock on an SR-71. Just thought throw that out there, because why not?
That's what it said. That's what the word sounds like. It's
decided to fill the role of fighter attack aircraft
on the text. That's what I put.
F-14EF Super Hornet, and the F-14 Tomcat was finally retired on September 22nd, 2006. The Super Tomcat 21 instead remains one of the more fascinating examples of what could have been.
I look for someone listening on YouTube because I didn't know what else.
Wait, there is actually a Super Tomcat, the ST-21. Oh, I thought they didn't make it for some reason. I don't know. I'm actually going to start crying because this is actually distressing me. The F-14 means so much to me, guys, and I'm very upset to... Okay, yes, we will be watching the insane engineering of the A-10 Warthog, because I'd be stupid not to include that.
China.
What in the fucking fuck? Satan, what the hell is a cranoplans?
A what?
Oh... Hang on. I'll show you.
Something's right.
Posting on the group chat now.
Did you say the group chat?
Yeah, it's in the group chat, but I don't know if it's like
What one?
Xbox.
It hasn't come up.
Oh, there it is.
Why did my phone just pick up this?
Satan, shush! The A-10 is burting.
The Fairchild Republic A-10 Lightning Bolt, or simply the Hog, is one of the most iconic planes in the US Air Force. A plane developed in the middle of the Cold War with a specific type of warfare in mind. If the Cold War turned hot, one area was destined to become a battleground. A 50-kilometer corridor of lowland valleys called the Fulda Gap, where any invading troops would be channeled on their march from East Germany to West Germany. It was the shortest route to France, Frankfurt, and the strategically important Rhine River. If war broke out, this corridor would be a vital region to secure, and each side of the Fulda Gap...
M1 Abrams! Hell yeah!
To cope with this threat environment,
wait, are they? They gotta be.
Developed an operation
they look like M1s.
called Air-Land Battle. and the A-10 was developed as a vital component of this strategy. A low-flying tank killer which would work closely with the troops on the ground to break up enemy formations at the front, while high-flying bombers harassed the supply lines at the rear. The A-10 was a plane designed specifically for the role of close air support. Close air support is exactly that, close. Close to friendly forces and close to unfriendly forces.
Oh my god, Satan, I've just seen some of the Humvees with the turrets on top. That's fucking dope. Nice nose art!
Incredibly accurate with its weapons to avoid friendly fire. A plane with this role needs some unique qualities. It needs to be available at a moment's notice in an ever-evolving battlefield.
That is a big-ass bomb underneath.
Because of this, the plane needs to be nearby and ready to go. This means working from forward bases that may not necessarily have all the infrastructure and equipment that other planes need to operate. Its survivability needs to be best in class. Flying this close to the ground is going to result in every man with a weapon taking potshots at the plane. As a result, the plane needs to be capable of dealing with small arms, machine guns, anti-aircraft guns, and even missiles. A-10s frequently limp back to their base with damage so severe that they would have downed another plane, with parts of their wings ripped off, with an engine taken out and hydraulics unoperational. And coming with this, the plane needs to be simple and cheap to manufacture. The Air Force made it clear from the beginning, in a battle of cost versus performance, cost would be prioritized. In an all-out war with the Soviets, quantity and ease of manufacturing was going to be a huge factor. Like the Sherman and the T-34 tanks, which were so influential in World War II, a future war between the Soviets and the US was expected to be won by whoever could out-manufacture and maintain their equipment.
Yeah, and
this
you
plane
still
was
lost.
intended to be a cheap and rugged workhorse. It needed to be made with readily available off-the-shelf parts, so maintenance crews could
Even during the Cold War, America most probably had the A-10, and they still somehow fucking lost. Although none of the sides actually won, it was more of a draw. But it shouldn't have happened in the first plane. But the first place, but the fact that America brags about having the greatest army but hasn't won a war since 1945 is something to take the piss out of them for.
Interchange parts to repair damage quickly and at a low cost.
SR-71
Contractors
Black
bidding
Ball.
for the manufacturing contract needed to consider all of these factors and design the entire plane around the primary armament, which was chosen before the design process started. The General Electric
Which is where the A-10 meme comes from. Satan, you never told me that the A-10's machine gun was a 30mm.
I thought you knew this already.
I did. Satan, I barely know jack shit. All I know about the A-10 is the memes and the fact that it's a flying death causer. That is literally all I know. And I also do know that the A-10's gun was built before the plane was actually built. Which is where the meme, my plane has a gun and my gun has a plane comes from. The A-10 had its gun built before it was actually built itself.
AU-88, a gun whose sound is so recognizable it has become a meme.
You know the Viggen.
A significant
Satan, the guy in the video just said, a gun so recognizable it has become a meme. He is aware of the memes, thank God.
You know the Viggen's the same size, right, of the gun. It's a 30mm as well.
What, are Sweden trying to have a 1v1 against the A-10 suddenly?
No, just the gun's the same size.
Internal volume at nearly 6 meters long, fitting snugly below the pilot.
Oh my God!
Is the ammo drum, which typically holds 1,150 30mm rounds. The rounds are delivered to the 7.
Oh my God, that gun!
The linkless shoot system.
That gun is huge! It literally is about the size of a Volkswagen Beetle, only bigger.
Damaging the plane. The belt system and the rotating cam firing system of the barrels are both driven by a hydraulic motor, which is powered by 2
this is so cool!
on board. There are 2 separate hydraulic systems to ensure redundancy in operation, and both run the gun. The left and right hydraulic systems are pressurized by 2 identical engine-driven pumps on the left and right engine. If an engine is lost or one of the hydraulic lines is broken, then the controls powered by those hydraulics cease to work. However, the plane has been designed to allow it to continue flying on only one hydraulic system, as both elevators, both ailerons, and one rudder have hydraulic power after loss of either hydraulic lines.
Wait, Satan, is this guy basically saying even if one of the fans of its engine get like shot at, it has... So it's basically the... Right, okay. This plane, guys, is basically like the human brain. Even if you take out one side of the brain, the other side will just have... America was really not holding back on their creativity when they came up with this bad boy. They really did not. This is actually generally a plane to be reckoned with. You may take out its left engine, but it's still going to have its right-sided left side. If the left side goes, right side will still take control of everything. If the left, and vice versa.
Roll and yaw, even after the loss of a single hydraulic system. If both are lost, the plane can switch to a manual reversion flight control system.
Saying, what's a manual reversion flight system?
Hold on, physics.
Oh, Satan's in War Thunder. He's guarantee you he's using the Viggen.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, he's using the Viggen.
Where the controls can be operated without
I don't blame you.
assist, which is difficult to say the least, but it can allow the pilot to land the plane safely, or, at the very least, allow them to get into safe airspace to eject. This kind of redundancy...
Wait, so basically the A-10 is literally most probably unkillable.
Certainly, yes.
So even if you're very close to crashing, the A-10 is...
Death.
Yes. Imagine if an F-14 Tomcat, an A-10 and a Harrier were seen in the same airspace. No, no. A Harrier jump jet, which I would fly. A-10 Warthog, the Viggen, and the... What? And F-14 Tomcat for Diego, because...
can be found in every component of the A-10 to increase survivability.
That was it.
The landing gear is retracted by the left system only, but it can be...
One flies it, one uses the weaponry.
Wait, the Viggen is a two-pilot thing?
No, I'm talking about the Tomcat.
Ah.
The reason it requires two pilots is because one has to fly it and the other one has to control the weapon.
So it sort of has a... Okay, right. So...
That's why it's this year.
Ah. Well, what plane would Diego pick if we had all the money in the world? What plane would he pick?
It depends.
Well, I will always be the same, either the F-14 Tomcat or the Harrier, but most probably because I'll be on my own a lot, it will have to be the Harrier.
Be extended by both, and in the event neither system is available, the wing-mounted landing gear doesn't actually retract all the way into the fairings, which allows the plane to land with landing gear retracted with only moderate...
Oh my god, that is amazing! I did know about this though. That is actually quite... America really were thinking of everything for this plane. Like, they wanted to keep this king of the sky in the sky as long as possible.
Damage to the plane. Protecting the control mechanisms through redundancy is just one component of increasing survivability. The fuel tanks are self-sealing on the lower portions and are filled with foam to prevent explosions.
Wow.
The A-10, like all planes, can fly with significant armor covering every portion of the plane. So they just protect the most vital component on the plane, the stick operator, otherwise known as the pilot, who sits inside a titanium tub which is reported to be capable of absorbing direct hits from armor-piercing rounds up to 23 millimeters. The canopy is also made from ballistic glass, capable of taking hits from small arms. But this isn't the type of plane to be flying upside down over the battlefield.
True.
This is more for shrapnel from anti-aircraft fire and missiles. The A-10 also carries more chaff and flares than any US Air Force legacy fighter. Chaff is radar reflective material which confuses radar-controlled missiles, while flares confuse heat-seeking missiles. With 4 dispensers located in the landing gear pods and another 4 on the outer wingtips, for a total of 16 across both wings. which can be triggered automatically by radar and laser detection systems
So,
on the nose
Satan,
and wingtips of the
how... Oh, Satan's about to just go kill something in the Viggen.
And fire.
So, Satan, when you hear like a missile lock onto the plane, when is the best time to like fire a flare or chaff?
Well, obviously before it gets near you. These
Plane
are around like 2
was
kilometers at least.
simply fired manually by the pilot. One
Unless
of
they
the
just
most
ignore
striking
flares.
features of the A-10 is its strange engine placement and tail configuration. And this too was a design feature to thwart enemies with heat-seeking missiles.
Aha!
The engines and tail were arranged like this to mask the infrared signature of the hot exhaust of the plane, which could be used to lock onto the plane by IR missiles on the ground. The tail would look more at home on a World War II bomber, which were designed to be stable. Stability was an important part of the A-10's design. The large vertical stabilizers help keep the plane on target as it fires its insanely powerful...
It has 4 wing
on
flaps.
the center line of the
That is mental. That is... Wow.
plane to minimize the effect of the recoil pushing the plane off target. The recoil force of 44.5 kilonewtons is so powerful that it effectively halves the plane's forward thrust, as each of the A-10's General Electric engines...
Its gun is strong enough to push it backwards. Massive. Wow.
In such short bursts, typically 1 to 2 seconds, that the pilot doesn't need to worry about stalling. The high engines mounted behind the wings also reduce the amount of dirt and dust that can enter the engines from forward operating base runways, which can be just dirt runways. A lot of design choices were made to allow the plane to operate from remote airfields like this. Smaller military planes like this don't typically have auxiliary power units, which are small secondary engines that large planes like airliners have. You can see the exhaust of these little hidden engines in the tails of airliners. These engines allow the plane to start its main engines without external help, and help run functions like electricity generation and hydraulic fluid pumps. But it's unnecessary weight for most small aircraft, and they usually use some other way to get the engine spinning. Sometimes this results in the plane relying on ground equipment, which the A-10 cannot depend on, and so an APU was installed between the 2 potted engines. You can see the exhaust of the APU just underneath the nacelles here. Some of the most interesting design challenges arose from the sheer power of the aircraft's gun. The gun spits out so much burnt and unburnt propellant that they actually lost an early model in 1978.
No!
Exhaust gas from the gun ignited and starved the engines of oxygen. To deal with this, some design changes were made. First,
May we respect a fallen A-10. I'm actually crying. That is how... Satan, we lost an A-10 due to its gun.
I know.
I'm not joking. I'm actually crying.
Yes, I know this.
a small gas scoop was placed underneath the barrels to suck in some of that exhaust. The chemical mixture of the round propellant was changed to increase the flash suppressant levels. This in turn caused secondary problems, as the new chemical mixture caused residue to build up on the cockpit windows and a canopy washer was needed, which simply sprayed the washing fluid onto the canopy, and the slipstream did the rest of the work. Circuitry was also added to force the engine ignition system to continually fire while the gun trigger was being pulled, so that in the event a flameout occurred, the engine could rekindle its flame immediately. The GAU-8 Avenger is a monstrous machine designed to wreak havoc on those Soviet tanks attempting to push through Allied lines. To do this, they need heavy armor-piercing rounds. The rounds are truly massive at 30mm, and sprinkled throughout these rounds are rounds made of aluminium with a depleted uranium core. Uranium is insanely dense at 19.1 grams per centimeter cubed. Lead, in comparison, is 11.3 grams per centimeter cubed, and iron is 7.9. This density gives the round more kinetic energy for armor piercing.
What about explosive rounds? Can't you just, or not? I mean, not like that. But saying, you know what I mean about like
Explosive fragmentation shells.
Yes, why not put them in there?
Can.
Reason being...
Don't worry about it.
Well, now I am worrying about it because I
Which
feel
is
like I
slightly
should...
denser than uranium,
You want
tends
to
to
search
mushroom
up
out
some
and
of the
dulls itself upon impact.
notes.
There is currently 700,000 metric tons of depleted uranium stored as uranium hexafluoride in huge storage cylinders across America, costing uranium enrichment facilities a great amount in maintenance. They are simply delighted when someone gets it off their hands and fires it at high speed into a country thousands of miles away. It's a cheap and freely available resource and has the perfect material properties for armor piercing. But the efficacy of using depleted uranium is obviously not good. Many war-torn regions have blamed its use for elevated cases of cancer. The A-10
Oh, boo-hoo!
constant threat of retirement. Detractors have pushed from the very start that the plane is not needed. First, it was the F-16 which should take over its job, and now it's the F-35. And both sides of the argument have valid points. The F-16 and A-10 can carry similar amounts of ordnance into the battlefield if needed. Both have 11 hardpoints with a carrying capacity over 7.2 tons.
Okay, right. Dude, I know how to win this argument. The F-35 and the F-16 Raptor may be better, but can they burst? And can they survive a shit ton of tank shells that are thrown at them? No, they can't.
Not really meant for that.
Exactly! Which is why you can't retire the A-10.
I mean, they will eventually, because they'll replace it with something better.
They better not do what GTA did and call the next generation of the A-10 the B-11 Strike Force.
They can't necessarily do that.
Imagine if they did though. Rockstar would try and sue them and the military would just burn them. This guy like, here you go!
Attaching heavy equipment to its wings negates the biggest advantage of the F-16, its maneuverability and ability to conserve kinetic energy in dogfights. The F-16 was designed to be a multi-role fighter, while the A-10 was designed for one job and one job only, getting down and dirty and taking some punches like Rocky, while modern planes like the F-35 were designed to be more like Muhammad Ali, bobbing, weaving, elusive, striking and moving out of the enemy's range before they can react. The two planes were designed in completely different eras, with completely different military doctrine in mind, and trying to compare the two without acknowledging that is silly. The F-35 is designed to carry a small payload of weapons in its internal weapons bay, while stealth is a high priority. But it can carry just as much as the F-16 when air superiority is established. It's a multi-role fighter designed for the modern battlefield. Ultimately, the A-10 found a role in wars like Iraq and Afghanistan, where the threat level and sophistication of enemy weaponry was relatively low, like the battles expected in the Fulda Gap in the 1980s. The A-10 persists today because it excels in its role as a close air support vehicle, and its low cost of running compared to other military planes has kept it competitive, allowing it to be in the vanguard for military operations today. A plane the infantry can see coming over the horizon, like Gandalf arriving into Helm's Deep to lift the siege.
But I'm serious. If I'm fighting in an army and I'm on the enemy team and I start hearing a burting sound, I'm just putting down the gun and getting shot. I do not care. Once I hear that burt sound, I know I'm going to die.
Actually, you wouldn't hear it if it shot at you.
That's the thing. You won't hear it burst. You'll be dead.
It's become an iconic aircraft among the soldiers on the ground. A bond has formed between it and the infantry it protects. But just as the A-10 was created in preparation for an anticipated next generation,
victory flares.
The F-35 was created with future wars in mind, where the threat environment will be so dense that simply being able to take a punch won't save it. The nature of close air support has continually evolved over the past century. In World War II, tactical air forces were created specifically for providing close air support to the troops landing in Normandy on D-Day. Range for
No, stop it!
Tactical issue, and within 24 hours, first men landing in Normandy.
Diego, I'm watching a video and I'm needing Satan's knowledge whenever he can remember something. Yeah! What the fuck? Anyway, say
I
Diego.
was kind of tuned into what
Diego.
you was saying, so I just kind of thought I'd play that.
Diego,
Time.
when I was told that the A-10's gun was powerful, I wasn't aware on how fucking large it was.
30 mil.
If I was,
Didn't you know the weapon's name was the Avenger?
I have just found that out, yes,
Oh
but
my fucking god! Oh my god! Can I tell you something? Flatline, if I see you in real life, you're getting a smack in the jaw.
look, my main focus in life was the Harrier jump jet and the F-14 Tomcat, which the Harrier I mainly know most of
First
stuff.
all, one of those planes is only good, and that's the F-14. The Harrier, that's a death trap.
I don't care. It is a place of... If you guys had a grandparent who fought in the war, you would maybe understand why it holds such a connection.
Listen, I get that, yeah, but the engine is just so unstable. It could collapse at any minute when it's in VTOL.
I do see your points on its engine design, and it could have been done better. But maybe if
That's
we...
why they've made new ones called the F-35B.
Much better.
But it's not the Harrier. It doesn't have the same oomph to
It's
it.
obsolete though.
You can call the
Outdated.
You can call the Harrier...
Third generation fighter, isn't it? Or a fourth?
Also, Diego, in this video I'm watching, they want to at some point retire. There was an argument being made about how its shells cause cancer, and I'm going, oh boo-hoo! Maybe you shouldn't have started a war then, you dipshit. Like, if you're going to complain about getting cancer from whatever, then maybe you shouldn't have started an argument that ended up with an A-10 getting launched on your country.
Saying, have you heard on what's happening?
Fierce counterattack by the Germans for
Apparently.
overwhelming
I think it was
the small
either
toehold
second or
the
third
Allies
gen, I
managed to
can't
carve
remember.
out
It's one
in
of those.
Normandy. I explored these vital logistical
Yeah, it was one of
challenges
them.
in a future episode
Second
of
or
the
third,
Logistics
because
of
it's
D-Day
early jet,
that
so
will
it's
be
like,
out next month. These airfields
So it's
were
not legit,
primarily
so
built
it's stable.
to extend the reach of Allied aerial support as ground troops pushed forward. However, as the front line progressed, many were converted to supply depots, emergency evacuation posts, and heavy bomber airfields. Others were simply abandoned and allowed to return to farmland over time. There are hidden traces of these remains littered all over Normandy. You can learn more about them and get access to the entire Logistics of D-Day series by signing up to the Curiosity stream.
No, most probably not. I would most probably die.
Here, you can watch the hidden traces.
Also, Diego, if me and Satan earlier were talking about if all of us in the group had like all of the money in the world, what jet would you get? Mine would be the F-14 Tomcat or the Harrier.
Or an F4.
Wait, what?
I choose an SU-30 to be honest with you.
I thought you were the Viggen.
Yes, but SU-30s look so fucking nice.
Okay, so Satan has the Viggen and the SU-30, I have the Harrier and the Tomcat. Diego has the
Tomcat or the F4.
Tomcat. Well, if you had the Tomcat, we might as well both use the same one.
About modern archaeological digs
C-E-J.
uncovering remnants of the 8-decade-old battlefield.
F4J.
And you will get free
Oh,
access
nice
to
choice.
the home of the Logistics of D-Day series and many more original series from some of YouTube's best educational creators, like Tom Scott.
There's another model in the phone, I think it was the S if I remember. I can't remember
I've got a question.
something like that.
What if we ended up getting back the F4 and then put a new tech in it, new engine?
That's what I'm saying for the F-14 Tomcat, but Satan says no, that would be stupid.
You know, they were originally going to make a different version of the F-22 with swing wing action.
Yes, and I found out about the F-14 Tomcat having that, and I immediately fell in love, even more.
No, listen. They were planning on making an F-22 variant of it.
Nice.
I don't think they're deadly enough as it is.
I mean, they're the only 6th generation fighter. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, Real Engineering did another,
6th gen's going to be fun whenever that happens.
Fuck that.
Imagine a faster go.
Oh, hello guys, we have a reason why Britain never made it. Hey guys, hang on. Look, listen.
Imagine
After
fucking
the
another
Spitfire,
version of the
it's
SR
probably the
something.
Harrier that's the most iconic British fighter design.
I'm taking 30 minutes of fuel. Fuck that.
It was one of the
taking
few
fuel.
aircraft sold to the US in numbers.
Yeah,
And even
basically,
Arnold
because of the
Schwarzenegger
afterburn.
was using
And
the
then again
Harrier
on the
in the movie
F1
True
was
Lies.
Good luck getting back.
Britain had invented and owned vertical takeoff
Here, Dave,
and
we need
landing.
to play Fallout
So why was it
76
retired?
season, because it's going to be fun.
Why do we not have a new
There's
Harrier?
aliens,
The answer?
Oh,
Well,
fuck yeah,
it's
which
complicated.
is why you can kill them.
If Paul's in it, then I'll play it.
Probably. Why
Satan and Diego, I know you're deep in whatever the hell you're talking about, but we're finding out about the Harrier.
To understand the significance of the Harrier jump jet in the British
No, I'm not still uploading. I'm still making another video.
I'm stuck
Harriers
on one
became
screen.
infamous
Let's
during
restart.
the Falklands
No,
War.
I'll wait for you,
I don't think I'm getting out.
It was the first time the V-stall, or
Satan, what was the Falklands War about again?
Hold on, no, I'm stuck. Let me. Oh fuck, I'm gonna have to restart.
Well,
Yeah, say the joining game session, but it was like
vertical
You know
short
the-
takeoff and landing
it's
aircraft
got this
at sea
circle.
action. A total of 28
Yeah,
Sea
the big
Harriers
circle in the middle
and
was like
14
stuck.
Harrier GR3s were deployed. The Sea Harrier squadron shot down
you're really scared of
21
What were you saying?
Argentine aircraft with no air
Pardon?
losses.
What were you saying? Sorry.
what was the Falklands War about again?
Oh, that was just fucking a really short war between fucking Argentina and fucking UK.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Seeing
So you know how we're
my
talking
David
about
Morgan?
flat onto the wing.
and found myself flying at about 10 feet.
Why don't we just drop into the
That's
nose
just
of one of them and go
ridiculous.
really close to a building and VTOL?
But it just seemed safer down there. So
Well, I can't get in the game because it's fucked.
I think it's because I was leader. I
The
think
Sea
next
Harrier
time you
was
need to
dubbed
be
I'm
Muerta
waiting in the
Negra
hangar.
by Argentine
Alright.
pilots.
Yeah,
Meaning
so
the
then I'll
Black
see if I
I'm
can
gonna
finish this
pay.
game.
Oh wow, the Harrier was dubbed the Black Death by Argentina pilots. Yeah.
And black people were named niggers because
Get
they're...
back in the cockpit and give us a
God damn it, Diego! Stop!
Sat in the cockpit. So it went like that, which is one of the
Is
first
that a bit
images
too
that came
formal?
back.
Yes, extremely.
The Harrier returned from the Falklands as an icon, cementing the reputation of British aircraft design.
Okay, I've decided that the Harrier or the A-10 I will be flying. Because since Diego wants to have the Tomcat, I can't exactly have the same
It was a
plane.
fighter that was proven in combat, and if it needed to, it could even land on a shipping container.
Not joking either.
That image looks so fucking stupid.
Wasn't that emergency landing?
Yes.
Take off on a short runway with a high weapon load. It was small, agile, and had tremendous acceleration
Small complications happen
and
in
that
the engine. That's not
performance.
mistaken.
So all that combined
I think I had engine.
Stop
gave
pinging.
you a really, really
Is
useful
there someone behind me?
operational
Lovely.
flexible
No, there's
capability.
not. There's nothing behind me, but my radar's pinging. Something's
That
behind
pinging
me.
seems to
Clearly,
be
it
happening
was a
to me no
project
matter
that
what
should be
aircraft
extended
it's fucking
or built up.
irritating and distracting.
So
I
what would the
can barely
next
hear
British
something
fighter
visible
be?
walking me because, you know, you got that.
As it
little
turned out,
poke.
there
Every time
was
I got to hear
going to be
something
one.
walking on a bit.
Wait, what?
Makes it difficult to avoid it.
Hang on, Satan, and all that. Hang on.
Throughout the 1950s and 60s, a number of aircraft companies separately decided to investigate the viability of vertical or short takeoff and landing.
Yeah, they always are.
The concrete runways that
I love the fact that if as soon as Britain made like some sort of vertical takeoff, other countries just said, "We're gonna steal that shit."
like they could in the Second World War.
In any
The
war,
fucking sky flashes
what
are
would get
reliable.
hit first by the enemy? Answer: the air bases. So they take them out. So the Harriers could operate still without a main air base.
V-stall aircraft would be able to take off, land and refuel anywhere. Jets would be able to hide in woodblocks, improvised bases or even car parks, without
Wow.
requiring large and vulnerable air bases. For the Cold War, that advantage could be huge, if only they could get it to work. Making a jet hover
turned out to be no easy task.
Well, duh.
Because of the air passing over.
Well, duh. That's obvious. Satan attached himself to a fucking tower in War Thunder.
I blame the Harrier.
No, I blame the wind and everything else.
Wings, and with no forward momentum, that doesn't work. The solution is downward thrust. Enough thrust to lift the entire aircraft, with nozzles to keep it stable, and some way of then transitioning into normal flight.
This is a fucking big.
That's what would make a V-stall aircraft successful.
Yeah.
But
Well, as long as he tells me about...
different ways.
I don't know, but as long as he's telling me about the Harrier and why they never made another...
Aircraft taking off vertically, like rockets from warships. In the 60s, the US was making failed V-stall prototypes.
Satan, during the 1960s, America tried valiantly to try and make vertical takeoff, which meant making a plane facing it up at the sky by attaching it to a crane and hoping for the...
That's Americans for you.
They will try so desperately just to steal shit without assistance when they obviously need it. It's like the sibling that says, I can do it, while failing like every...
It's valuable research. You can't really put anything on that.
That's a sad version.
Bad habit. There was swiveling engines on wingtips, lift fans, separate lift jet engines. The ideas were modern and brave, and of course, few of them worked. There was even a moment in history when companies were trying to make large cargo aircraft that could take off on short runways and land vertically. Even NASA had a vehicle taking off vertically. The Lunar Landing Research Vehicle was built to simulate the moon landings.
I'm watching a history video on the Harriers, yes.
Even it didn't go without an accident.
Because the reason... Oh, shit! Well done. Oh, that was Neil Armstrong in there.
Dozens of designs.
Fuck, that could have gone horribly.
Only the Harrier and the Yak-38 Forger reached operational status. That last one you might not have heard of. The Yakovlev Yak-38 was a Soviet Navy V-stall aircraft.
Fucking Russia stole our shit. Wankers.
And 231 were built.
It
was used on the Soviet Union's Kiev-class carriers and was even tested in Afghanistan against the Mujahideen. Its approach was different to the Harrier. It had two dedicated lift jets located behind the pilot, making its silhouette somewhat reminiscent of today's F-35B. I'll come back to that. While other countries were attempting to design their own unique V-stall aircraft, Britain was quietly proceeding with its own developments. First in 1953, with experimental machines like the Rolls-Royce thrust measuring rig, known as the Flying Bedstead. It became the first jet-lift aircraft to fly anywhere in the world, and it led to the short SC-1, designed to study vertical takeoff and landing, and the transition to forward flight. It was equipped with the first fly-by-wire control system for a V-stall aircraft, and for years its test provided data that led to the famous Pegasus engine.
Pegasus?
And that engine is what would go on to power the Harrier. It's this vectored thrust engine that allows the pilot to change the angle at which thrust is being projected, allowing a fighter to take off vertically, hover, and land vertically for the first time ever. The Pegasus uses jets of cold air from rotatable nozzles, along with a hot jet which was directed through a conventional central tailpipe.
The Pegasus engine was the first
Alex Salvin, program lead of
and what it did
JSF Rolls-Royce.
From forward flight to vertical flight. The actual engine itself has 4 exhausts, so 2 exhausts on either side. And
I feel like that too, but
facing,
I don't know.
Backwards, it will move forward, and then when it's rotating downwards, it will lift. Impressively, the concept for this was created in 1960, and this aircraft is still flying around today. So they've developed a product which is very innovative, but also able to adapt to new technology.
I mean,
But prioritising the ability to hover meant that the Harrier had to sacrifice in other areas. It couldn't fly at supersonic speeds, and it couldn't carry as much fuel or munitions as other fighters.
You can't go supersonic because the shockwave of the
when you watch them, these 10
puts a big ram effect. You can't
If I may, guys, they may be saying that the Harrier can reach supersonic, but it sure as hell could push there. I have the Harrier in War Thunder, and Gaijin do this. They try and make planes as realistic as possible. Unless we're talking about Russia or Japan, which seem to be buffed beyond belief, even though they're not that good. Am I wrong, Satan, or am I right?
No, you're wrong.
Fuck you, Diego. You know I'm right. But yeah.
You don't know much of anything, so you can't be.
Well, I know enough about Gaijin that they're biased little fucks.
That's different.
That reminds me of someone else I know.
faster. And it didn't need to, because you could move
can't disagree
to
there.
the front line in these heights and get to the targets in no time. You didn't need to go supersonic. And if you use supersonics, you use a lot of fuel.
Oh, really?
But a supersonic V-stall aircraft...
He's a veteran. Fuck off.
Just not in the UK. In the 80s, the Soviet Union wanted to upgrade its V-stall jets. The result was the Yak-141, capable of flying at Mach 1.7. It's similar to today's F-35B due to its rotating rear nozzle technology, but it never went into production. That's because its manufacturer, Yakovlev, ran out of funds due to the Soviet collapse. They had to look elsewhere for investment. Yakovlev entered discussions with several foreign partners, but it was Lockheed who they reached an agreement with. The same Lockheed who were about to start developing the F-35. Yakovlev announced a deal with Lockheed for funds of around $400 million. In return, they'd produced 3 new prototypes and an additional static test aircraft. It was a technology transfer.
Wait, a Russian company and an American company actually teamed up and built a jet together.
Brings us to the modern
That's mad.
So why don't we have a new Harrier today? Well, in 1993, the US began developing its Joint Strike Fighter program. It was looking for a new aircraft, a fighter that could replace a wide range of existing aircraft. The F-16, A-10, F-18 Hornet and A-8B Harrier. 2 years later, the UK became a formal partner, signing up to buy the same aircraft. For the UK, it would replace the Harrier and Tornado. As it was replacing so much, this new aircraft had to do a lot. It would need to fly at supersonic speeds, with stealth, and be capable of short takeoff and vertical landings. A scaled-up Pegasus engine couldn't reach supersonic speeds, and its nozzles, sticking out of the aircraft, were never going to meet the stealth requirement.
So this aeroplane died a natural death because its capability could not be grown into high survivability, and that high survivability means you need a stealthy aeroplane. You can't do that with this aeroplane. For one thing, the engine configuration doesn't allow you to put the engine in the back of the aeroplane, which allows room up front for a bomb bay. So you have to have an aircraft with an engine at the back of the airplane. If you then want to land vertically, right, which is what the Marines wanted to do, you've got to then balance the thrust on the aeroplane by having thrust forward. On Harrier, it's produced by the forward nozzles. So how do you get thrust forward in the aeroplane?
The Harrier concept didn't fit the bill. And to put the nail in the coffin, it seemed like Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works had already found and patented the perfect solution years earlier. Lockheed's patented solution? A lift fan inside the fuselage, just behind the pilot. Where the 2 lift jets were on the Yak-141.
The answer the F-35 came up with was, put a shaft on the engine, put it at the back, put a shaft on the engine, drive the shaft through the fuselage, and drive a lift fan at the front, which provides the front post.
No, that was
And that was the design that teams of engineers worked on for nearly 10 years to come up with. Now, that was a bit of brilliant engineering design that was an innovation that you rarely come across. It was like Harrier in its early days. And he patented it. And we spotted the patent. And of course, when we saw it, eureka. It had to be the best solution. And so that won the competition. And of course, we in the UK said, OK, we'll join that programme because the RAF want the aeroplane.
Where the Harrier has its rotating engine nozzles for downward thrust, the F-35 uses a combination of its internal lift fan and by rotating its main engine nozzle at the back, so that it's pointing down. Together, the fan and nozzle produce more than 40,000 pounds of thrust, enough to lift the nearly 20-ton aircraft.
The lift system is designed very differently from the Pegasus in that its main module is the lift fan.
Right, so basically everything nowadays is getting replaced by basically the same damn thing, F-35. Apart, everyone, from the A-10 Warthog, because that will never die.
To the front of the aircraft, it has a counter-rotating fan that essentially pushes the airflow downwards. And then you've got the drive shaft and the clutch and the roll posts. And the roll posts.
Right. So, guys, now you know. This is why I love the Harrier, the F-35 and the A-10. We learn a bit of history on the Harrier, how it was made, and we learned why I love the F-14 and the A-10. Hope you guys enjoyed.